The day Queen Elizabeth II closed her eyes for the last time, a silent financial earthquake ripped through the palace walls. And while the world mourned a monarch, insiders were whispering about billions shifting hands overnight. September 2022 wasn't just the end of a 70-year reign. It was the beginning of a royal reshuffle so dramatic, so ruthlessly strategic, that even seasoned palace watchers were stunned. Because here's the part no one saw coming. Prince William didn't just inherit a title, he inherited a billion-dollar empire. Not gradually, not conditionally, instantly. The moment King Charles ascended the throne, the Duchy of Cornwall, a 685-year-old financial powerhouse, transferred automatically to William. No family meeting, no emotional debate, no divided shares, just a clean, legal switch, one signature of fate. And suddenly, William controlled an estate valued at around $1.2 billion. Let that sink in. 140,000 acres across the UK. Farms, commercial properties, islands, beaches, even a prison. A machine generating nearly $30 million a year, every single year. Money that now flows directly to William, funding his lifestyle, his duties, his future reign. And here's the twist that made certain dinner tables go quiet. None of it was shared. Not with King Charles's extended family, not with Queen Consort Camilla's children, not with anyone outside the direct line of succession. That's not cruelty. That's the system. But systems don't stop emotions. Camilla's children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, grew up privileged, yes. But royal? No. They carry no titles. They sit outside the bloodline. And in the monarchy's cold arithmetic, bloodline is everything. While their stepbrother-in-law became a billionaire overnight, they received nothing from the duchy. Zero claim, zero access, zero say. And insiders say the frustration was real, because this wasn't just about wealth. It was about hierarchy being reinforced in the most public way possible. The Queen's carefully structured legacy made one thing clear: the future belongs to William and his branch of the family. And if that wasn't explosive enough, wait until you hear about the jewelry. When Queen Elizabeth II passed, she left behind not only the crown jewels, which belonged to the institution, but a deeply personal collection of approximately 300 pieces she owned outright. Diamonds layered with history, necklaces soaked in symbolism, pieces worn during wars, weddings, coronations. And guess who became the keeper of that treasure? Kate Middleton. An estimated $110 million worth of personal jewelry passed to the future Queen Consort. Not split, not scattered, directed. Among them, the breathtaking Nizam of Hyderabad necklace, gifted in 1947 and dripping with over 50 diamonds in floral precision. The George VI festoon necklace, heavy with 105 diamonds, worn in official portraits. These weren't random gifts, they were legacy markers. The Queen and Kate had grown increasingly close in Elizabeth's final years. Private audiences, quiet mentorship. Observers called Kate the favorite, and this inheritance only amplified that narrative. Because every diamond told a story, and now Kate holds the chapters. But here's where it gets complicated. Although Kate is set to inherit the majority of the Queen's personal jewelry long-term, Camilla, as the current Queen Consort, has first access to wear selected pieces during her reign. Imagine that dynamic for a moment. Wearing jewels you know are destined for someone else, displaying diamonds that technically are not yours. Borrowed power, temporary authority. Each appearance becomes layered. Is it presentation or possession? And then comes the ghost of Diana. Princess Diana's jewelry remains one of the most emotionally charged collections in royal history. After her tragic death in 1997, William and Harry selected personal keepsakes. William chose the iconic sapphire engagement ring, the one now on Kate's hand. But other pieces remained in the vault, and this is where tension reportedly simmered. A striking emerald and diamond choker once associated with Diana was redesigned into a brooch under Camilla's usage. Later, it appeared restored closer to its original form when worn again. Questions quietly circulated. Who has the right to alter history? Who protects it? Who decides its future? Because for William and Kate, certain pieces aren't just decorative, they are promises. Promises to Princess Charlotte. Promises that Diana's memory will pass intact to the next generation. Charlotte, third in line to the throne, stands to inherit iconic pieces like the Lover's Knot tiara, worn by both Diana and Kate. But reports in 2024 and 2025 suggested some items intended for her future were being reclassified for general royal use rather than reserved specifically. That's when Kate stepped in, calmly, strategically. She worked with royal archivists and former aides to verify documentation, to confirm what was meant for Charlotte, to ensure no adjustments blurred the Queen's original wishes. Because when legacy is at stake, paperwork becomes power. And beneath all this glitter lies a deeper fracture, the wealth gap that no one can ignore. Look at the children. Prince George, second in line, will one day inherit the Duchy of Cornwall, just as William did, billions flowing forward through a direct line. Princess Charlotte, poised to receive historical jewels and secured inheritances. Prince Louis, beneficiary of trust funds and generational wealth. Now compare that to Camilla's grandchildren. Despite Despite having a grandmother who is queen consort, they are outside the royal pipeline. No duchy, no crown estate income, no automatic inheritance. The monarchy's structure doesn't recognize marriage as a gateway for wealth redistribution, only blood. And that reality stings. It becomes even sharper when considering Prince Harry. On his 40th birthday in September 2024, he received over $10 million from a trust fund established by the Queen Mother decades earlier. The trust was untouchable, irreversible, even after stepping back from royal duties, even after public criticism, even after memoirs and documentaries. The money still came. Reports claim this upset certain members of the family because loyalty didn't dictate the payout. The ancient rules did. If that's how firm the system is with a biological son, what does that signal to stepchildren? Camilla's children reportedly handled everything with dignity. They've remained respectfully distant. But watching billions consolidate around William's branch while their own line receives none of the institutional wealth reinforces a truth many whisper but few say out loud. The monarchy protects the throne, not feelings. And this is only the beginning. Because the real battle isn't about what was inherited, it's about what happens next. About the Duchy of Lancaster, about private wills, about Balmoral and Sandringham, about whether Charles will leave anything beyond tradition, and about how each quiet signature behind palace doors shapes the financial map of the next 100 years. And if you thought the billion-dollar Duchy of Cornwall was the climax, think again, because the real shockwave is still building, and it's aimed straight at the future. Behind the palace curtains, the next financial domino is already standing tall, the Duchy of Lancaster, worth roughly $653 million and generating over $27 million a year. It now belongs to King Charles. But here's the catch. When Charles is gone, that entire income stream doesn't scatter across the family tree. It doesn't trickle down to stepchildren. It doesn't get divided in a spirit of modern fairness. It moves in one direction, forward, to the next monarch, which means William. Again, so imagine the optics. William already controls the $1.2 billion Duchy of Cornwall. When Charles passes, William will also inherit the Duchy of Lancaster as king. Two financial fortresses, 2 centuries-old engines of wealth locked into one bloodline. And what about Camilla? As Charles's widow, she may inherit personal assets, possibly residences, private funds, valuables accumulated over decades. But here's the uncomfortable truth insiders keep circling back to. Anything Camilla inherits in her capacity as queen consort does not automatically flow to her biological children. It circles back to the crown. Properties like Balmoral Castle and Sandringham, historically inherited from monarch to monarch, are not casual gifts. They are strategic anchors of continuity. Even if Camilla enjoys them during her lifetime, tradition strongly suggests they revert to William afterward, which leaves her children permanently adjacent to power, but never owners of it. This isn't a family feud in the traditional sense. It's colder than that. It's constitutional. Royal wealth isn't distributed based on closeness, kindness, or even loyalty. It is distributed based on proximity to the throne. That's it. The throne is the sun. Everything else orbits, and the gap between those in orbit and those at the center grows wider with each generation. Prince George will one day inherit the Duchy of Cornwall, just as his father did. That's billions compounding across decades. Princess Charlotte is being quietly positioned as the guardian of historic jewels, including pieces linked directly to Diana and Elizabeth II. Prince Louis, though further down the line, still benefits from trust funds and private wealth secured within the royal ecosystem. Now zoom out. Camilla's grandchildren share Dina with her, but not with the throne. They attend private schools. They live comfortably, but there is no automatic duchy waiting, no constitutional clause protecting their financial future, no billion-dollar estate switching into their name at the turn of a crown. And insiders say that realization, not the jewelry, not the headlines, is what stings the most. Because proximity to royalty creates a perception of shared privilege, but the system is ruthless in its precision. Marriage does not equal inheritance. Support does not equal entitlement. Presence does not equal power. And then there's Harry. Even after stepping back from royal duties, relocating to California, and publicly challenging the institution through interviews, documentaries, and his memoir Spare, he still received over $10 million from the Queen Mother's trust on his 40th birthday. Why? Because it was locked in decades ago. An ancient financial decision immune to modern drama. That payout reportedly reignited frustration behind the scenes. If Harry, who openly criticized the family, could still benefit from an untouchable trust, what hope did Camilla's children ever have of accessing royal wealth despite remaining publicly respectful and scandal-free? Sources claim that discussions around King Charles's private will have grown increasingly sensitive. Reports suggest William and Camilla have urged Charles to be cautious about leaving additional funds to Harry. The logic? Protect the monarchy's future. Preserve unity. Avoid financing dissent. But beneath that logic lies a louder message. Inheritance in the House of Windsor is strategic warfare disguised as tradition, and Kate understands this better than anyone. While much of the public sees her as graceful, diplomatic, diplomatic, composed, insiders say she has become increasingly proactive about documentation, about preservation, about making sure nothing accidentally shifts out of her children's pipeline. Jewelry inventories verified, intentions clarified, archival notes secured. Because when you are preparing your son to be king, ambiguity is dangerous. Every tiara assigned to Charlotte, every estate earmarked for George, every trust fund safeguarded for Louis. It is long game chess. And Camilla? She operates in the present. She holds influence while Charles reigns. She wears the jewels. She attends the state banquets. She carries the title. But titles can be temporary. Assets are generational. The monarchy's structure ensures that once William ascends fully, the gravitational pull tightens around his immediate family. Authority consolidates. Wealth concentrates. The future sharpens. For Camilla's branch, the window narrows. This is why insiders describe the atmosphere not as explosive, but as tense, controlled, measured, smiling photographs masking silent calculations. Because this isn't about jealousy over diamonds, it's about centuries of legal architecture designed to protect the throne at all costs. A system that quietly says the crown survives by limiting distribution, and the hierarchy has been reinforced in the clearest way possible. William, billionaire estate holder. Kate, guardian of $110 million in personal royal jewels. George, future inheritor of compounding billions. Charlotte, promised keeper of iconic royal pieces. Louis, secured within the inner financial circle. Meanwhile, Camilla's children remain respected but financially separate, watching wealth multiply just beyond reach. Some argue the system must remain this way, that splitting duchies would weaken the monarchy, that concentration ensures stability, that dilution invites chaos. Others whisper a different question. In a modern world demanding transparency and fairness, can such an unequal structure survive scrutiny forever? So when people ask why Camilla's family is reportedly fuming, the answer isn't rooted in gossip alone. It's rooted in arithmetic, in legal documents older than most nations, in a monarchy that has survived precisely because it protects the core at the expense of the perimeter. And here's the final twist. This system won't change with Charles. It won't change with William. It won't change with George. If anything, the wealth gap will widen further as estates appreciate, investments compound, and direct heirs accumulate. The real question isn't whether Camilla's family feels excluded, it's whether the monarchy can continue to justify a structure where proximity to the throne determines destiny so absolutely. Because behind the pageantry, behind the jeweled crowns and balcony waves, the truth is stark. In the House of Windsor, inheritance is not about love. It's about lineage.